Welcome back, everybody. David Viscott here for our second hour. Well, we're making progress, are we?
Well, we're doing, yeah, everything's going great now. We still don't have our phones back, but the sound people are making it work. For a while there, I thought that I just have to tell you my own problems for 2 hours, and I'm not that interesting. I was a little worried.
Okay, but you can be more interesting than anyone I know tonight. But the fact is, are we making, does it look good on the air?
I think it looks fine. I don't think that if someone tuned in right now, they would know that the phones were not working. I think, you know, we have these great sound people here. We have Vicki, and Vicki was the very first caller that we were going to talk to, and we lost her in those sound problems. She's having...
back.
Pardon?
She's back.
She's back.
Vicki,
Yes.
I'm sorry about our problems and throwing you off into the night like an old shoe.
No problem. It's just a pleasure to get to talk to you.
How old are you, Vicki?
I'm 41.
What's going on?
Well, I've had a girlfriend for about 10 years. We've had a very long relationship and been very close. We met in an incest survivors group about 10 years ago, and it was a rather large group. But for some reason, we had a lot in common, and obviously we had a lot in common. And we've stayed in contact, and I've always sort of been, she's my extended family, you know, since obviously I don't have a whole lot to do with my own. I always go to her home for Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas and share the holidays with her grown children and her and birthdays and things. And we always talk a lot. And then all of a sudden something happened.
What?
We both have children that are like 10 and 12, and one weekend they were going to be doing their various activities. And I said to her, because she's long distance and we build up these big phone bills, I said, well, why don't you come down and spend the whole day? We'll have the whole day to talk. We can watch some movies, and we can spend some time together, you know, for ourselves. And she said, fine, we'll meet for brunch, and I'll be over. Well, we met for brunch. We came back to my house, and I put on the movie Harold and Maude, which is an all-time favorite of mine that she has never seen. And sometime during the show, she said, I would like to be your Maude. And at first I wasn't too upset about that. And
What did you think she meant?
Well, I wasn't sure, because it was around the part of the movie where they finally slept together, Harold and Maude.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, well, maybe I misinterpreted it. And I said, but you are my Maude. You're a very special person in my life, and I care about you very much. And, you know, we've sort of grown together and found ourselves together and stuff, and you are a Maude in my life. And there were a few incidences before that where she asked me if I had any hand lotion, and I said, yes, it's in the bathroom. She gets up and she goes into my bathroom.
Was this on this visit?
Yes, this was on this visit. And while the movie was playing, she came back with the hand lotion. She picks up my foot off the floor and she starts to give me a foot massage. And went from the foot up the leg. And I was sort of uncomfortable. I said, no, don't your leg. My legs need shaved, you know, that kind of stuff. And I was sort of embarrassed and kind of uncomfortable with it, but...
Okay, so she came on to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And?
And then it went from, well, why are you sitting at that end of the couch and I'm clear over here? Isn't
So she came on to you. Let's go to the next place.
Well, I felt so betrayed, David. It was...
What did you say when you realized what was going on?
I went into my automatic mode of talking my way out of a situation by switching the subject. And
Did you feel at all like you felt when you were being incested?
Oh, absolutely.
And the reason you felt betrayed was not so much that she was making a sexual approach, but she was using the same tactics that probably you had spoken of yourself during the group.
Yes.
So she knew your weakness, and she was betraying you at the very place of your vulnerability where you'd been abused before.
Yes.
So you were put in a situation where you felt trapped for a person who you loved and brought in as family, Thanksgiving and all that stuff just having been said, and all of a sudden you're once again in the same position.
Yes.
That's what hurts. What did
And
you
I love her very much.
Of
you know,
course.
and I keep rationalizing.
What did you
it.
say to her?
Well, I said to her, after doing my song and dance of, talking my way out of this situation as you would any situation where you felt cornered.
Well, I don't know whether I would do that.
Well, I said to
I
her,
often, in situations, say, "Hey, what's going on here?"
right, but at
Didn't
the
you say
time, the
anything?
fear overrides your...
Fear of what? Fear is the expectation of loss. The losses that I see are the loss of family, as she symbolized it,
Yes.
of being alone, rejected, of being alone again, rejected again, recurrences of the old feeling that hasn't completely been resolved.
But there was another issue of being a friend and understanding.
I understand.
That she was an incest victim, and maybe she didn't know how to communicate or show affection towards me.
So she
Anyway, except sexually.
so she sexualized it.
Yes.
All right. Can you use that understanding as the leverage point to begin the discussion? Did you say anything to her at all?
Yes.
What?
And then the denial came in.
What did you say?
I said that I felt like I had some kind of sign on my forehead that said, strike here. That's where I went
Okay.
back to.
This is entirely too personal in your response, okay?
Yeah.
You have just been approached by a person who was abused, who was seeking to sexualize their feelings of love for you that they couldn't handle.
Right.
Abused women often seek out other women later on in life because their inability to trust men. And what I would do is I would write her a note. I would just say, "Hey, look, I spoke to someone about this, and I understand what's going on. But the problem is that you, in feeling close to me, sexualized your relationship with me the way your family relationship had been sexualized with you. I understand fully the dynamics, but I must tell you that when you denied what you were doing, I felt exactly the way I felt as a child when I confronted and other people denied. And surely with someone I love and share the same vulnerability with as a deep friend such as you, I shouldn't be confronting the same denial. I forgive you for making the approach, but I need you to admit the denial and admit what's going on so at least we can have a friendship. I certainly can understand you, having been incested and abused, would want to express love for me, and out of your fear of rejection might sexualize it in order to have more control over it, since the only way you knew about such love when you were a child was in a situation where the love was done in a very controlling, manipulative fashion.
Yes.
Okay? That's what I would say to her.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, David.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Make it her problem. You're prepared to love her again, you say.
I
But
do
not
love
with
her,
but
but
not
as my friend.
but not with the denial in place.
Right. No, that just made me angry. I became very
Of course,
angry
because you know
that I
you don't
once
have.
again I was feeling
What are you going to go to? Her mother?
Yeah, I know.
And that's what I would even say. Who am I going to supposed to? I'm 41 years old. I don't have a father or a mother I can appeal to. You are the court of higher appeal because you are the friend I entrusted, and you're betraying that. Come on, admit what was going on and see if perhaps we can reach our friendship truth again and still
I've
be
just
friends.
been afraid to call her.
Don't be afraid. Do it in a letter.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Okay, kiddo. Let me know how this works out. This is really important.
Thank you, David.
Okay. But the victim often becomes the victimizer when the problem is not completely worked through.
I realize that, but I've never met an incest victim that I believed was capable of abuse. And
Guess what? They're all capable of abuse. That's the heart of being the victim. The victim inhibits the expression of the anger, which turns into an inward rage, which at a certain point causes a person to go out of control and to become the very demon they seek most to destroy. Okay. Dottie, do I have another call?
Yeah, you have another one of our regular callers. You have Richie, who is someone who has a medical problem that you'd like to talk about.
Okay, Richie, are you there?
Yeah.
Hi, Richie.
Hi. We spoke last December. I was the guy that had diabetes that didn't know he had it for such a long time, and you said join the club.
You had just diagnosed it?
Yeah, that was the one I was just diagnosed. You know.
Okay, tell me what's going on.
Well, I did follow what you said. No matter if you're sick or this and that, keep exercising. And you said give me a good number last December. I think it was December 5th. And I was about 131, and now it's about 94, 95.
This is your blood sugar?
Yeah. So that part, okay, I mean, there was no one else who could do it for me but me, so I had to do it.
That's the truth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's, I guess that's why I'm calling. You know, you always say a lot of times on the air, and I totally agree, that a lot of people call up, they kind of know what the answer is before they call, but I'm calling, and I honestly, I don't know what, but I have sort of the guilt that I'm taking somebody else's time away, but the thing is, I really don't have, I don't have an answer to what my problem is. The problem is that I've been doing everything that I can do that's, you know, since I feel so much better. I mean, I'm thinking, I'm doing, but over the last, excuse me, over the last 2 or 3 years, I've submitted myself to situations, relationships, 2 of them, to being treated like I would never let myself be treated before.
How do you mean?
Well, I mean, putting up with stuff, basically making or seem to be making the relationship an illusion that I feed into by giving so much of myself almost, well, this is something that I have realized, that I'm getting false gratitude in return from the person.
Boy, are you convoluted, pal.
What's that?
You're very convoluted. Are you saying you give too much insincerely in order to get something back?
To feel that I'm needed or that...
All right, so are you saying you invent the relationship?
Well, okay, can I...
I like it in small little nuggets. I'm not as
all right, I'll give
able
you
to
small, I'll try to give you
understand
small little nugget. After getting out of one relationship, ending in 90, I got into a relationship with a girl who basically is not a wicked woman, who's just well, either she is the most wicked woman in the world or she's just real crazy. She has somewhat of what you mentioned one time on the show, a screen memory. And that's something that I was able to identify with. And the thing is that I started seeing her. We basically just talked on the telephone. She never even trusted me to give her address or anything, and she had no reason not to do that. But I put up with it. I was sick with diabetes. I didn't really care, I guess, maybe. Then
okay, you don't need to go any further.
Okay.
All right. You picked a relationship that was wrong for you.
But why did I
Well,
submit myself to that
because
thing?
you're desperately lonely.
Man, you don't know how lonely.
Well, that's why people do things like that, all right? Wait, don't go any further, and don't give me a rhapsody over this, all right?
Okay.
Let's just admit it. Your loneliness is either your friend or your enemy. If you have a life work, and you have a belief in yourself, and you have a goal, your loneliness is the time in which you accomplish these things. If you're working someone else's job, and you really don't care about what you do, and your life isn't going in a lot of places, then your loneliness is a constant nag to you because it's saying, what are you doing with your life?
Exactly.
What is your life worth? You're going to be dead soon. Will you have lived your life? And of course, when you have diabetes as a diagnosis, with all of the emotional ups and downs of diabetes, tell me about it. I'm diabetic.
I know.
All right. With all of the confusion that goes in your life sometimes trying to sort out these chemical changes caused by rapid changes of insulin and blood sugar.
I also didn't mention one other thing, too, which I should have mentioned the last phone call. I was born with hyperkinesis. Now they call it ADD, whatever.
Whatever.
Okay. Okay, but that's
Whatever. Let's not try to make it more complicated.
Okay, very good.
Your life is about finding a goal to believe in. What do you do?
I'm listening.
What do you do?
Try to make that.
What do you do? What do you do for a living?
I was up to getting sick. I was I'm a very good guitar player, singer, professional entertainer.
All right.
I've done that since I'm like a kid.
Are you practicing?
Unbelievably practicing every day, 3.5 hours, 4 hours.
Okay. Are you getting back into the groove?
Absolutely. That part, yes.
Okay. Are you making connections to get your stuff out?
Well, no, I'm going to be moving to Las Vegas. I'm at home right now, which is not a real good place.
All right. So the main thing you need to do is get your career and your act together. Realize that there is nobody who belongs in your life right now because you're rebuilding. And anyone who comes into your life now is either going to be sick, overprotective,
A bad deal.
or trying to manipulate you. So there's no room in your life for anyone. Your loneliness is a good thing because it's the time you fill your life with yourself, and it's the time to grow. And sometimes, if you can understand that, and you can take that to heart, this becomes the challenge and the moment when your life changed. Keep your diabetes in control, work out, get some exercise regularly, eat right, and work. And next year is your year. But this year is a year for rebuilding. We all have to rebuild before we can run. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is a guy who is, his lover is HIV positive, and he's not, but he's real naturally worried.
And where is he?
He's in the ether.
What's his name?
Michael.
Michael? Michael?
Yes.
Hi,
David,
Michael.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Michael. How
Do
are
I
you?
need to turn my TV off?
I think
Because I can barely hear you.
we have no delay, but you can shut it
First
off.
of all, I want to commend you and your staff on the technology that you have proven tonight. It proves that the show and life goes on.
Well, that's the lesson, isn't it?
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Especially as it relates
and
to
that's sort of my facade that I put on in life.
the life goes on, even though it's...
Well, no matter what I feel inside, everyone always sees me as happy all the time, I can't show my true feelings.
You can't or you don't?
I choose not to.
Okay, so don't say you can't.
Yeah, I choose not to.
Okay. Why?
Well, I don't want to be seen that way.
Why?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll give you one guess. Sometimes people choose not to show their real feelings because they really want to suppress or deny them. And if they showed their real feelings, other people would say, "What's wrong?" and you'd have to talk about it.
Right.
Is that the reason?
Yeah.
All right.
You hit
so
it right on the nail.
Well, don't make it more complicated.
I've been watching you on TV and listening to you on the radio, and I've been to a few of your lectures for a few years now. And basically, I can go into, I'm sure that everyone's got their problem. But the one that I would like to discuss tonight that I'm dealing with is, and let me tell you, this is the first time that I've ever called, so I am a little nervous if my voice sounds shaky. I've been married with my husband. I am a homosexual. I am an active drinking alcoholic. I've been with my husband for 12 years. I'm 35 years old. He was diagnosed HIV positive 10 years ago, which is now turning into full-blown. And I have one best friend who I can talk with. I'm not in therapy. My husband, first of all, Michael was an alias. I'm going to be honest now. My name is John Michael. My husband does not even have a best friend that he could like call and talk to like I do, like, you know, even just to gossip or whatever. All he does is work and me. And I'm really at my wit's end because...
Why?
Yes, sir?
What do you mean wit's end? Why?
My wit's end. I'd rather have the disease than him, and I'm being very honest here because I'm selfish, because I would rather die before he does, because I don't want to be left here alone.
How long have you been an alcoholic?
Probably since I was about 15.
Have you been drinking more lately?
Yes. And smoking more.
Smoking?
Cigarettes.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't do drugs.
Right.
I mean...
Alcohol's enough.
Yeah, alcohol is my drug of choice.
Yeah, well, when
and
you say...
Alcoholics Anonymous is not... has never helped me. My mother is a circuit speaker with AA. I have been in rehab.
When you talk about you wish you had a disease instead of him, you have a disease that's preventing you from being there for him. If all his life is his work and you are drinking a lot of the time, and you're covering yourself with that alcoholic haze...
You're totally correct. And
then
I
he's...
see
then
the
he,
pain in his eyes when
he's having more pain from your rejection than from his disease.
Than his own problem, I know.
I'm telling you, that's what has to be addressed.
But I don't know where to go. AA is not my answer. I was going to ask you about regression therapy.
Have you ever...
Wait I don't know where to go anymore.
Well,
I've tried everything, David.
Well, I know, but there are good programs and there are bad programs.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like I said, my mother has been on AA for 20 years.
Did you ever have a sponsor?
Yes, I've had several. The longest length of sobriety I have, once I truly admitted that I was an alcoholic,
yeah.
The longest sobriety I achieved was 1 year.
Well, maybe you can get another year during this period of transition.
I don't know where to go or what to do. And I know that it's not my husband's problem.
I know where to go.
I know it is my problem.
I know where to go.
Where?
Here.
I'm right in your face.
You need to go inside.
That's an awfully frightening thought.
You need to go inside. You need to know that you are the source of everything right now. That your main concern in your selfishness is that something is going to be taken away.
Well, that's fear. Fear of losing something you have or something you're not going to get.
Let me tell you. The truth is that you've lost it already because you're not present and you're not open and your partner is shutting you off the only way he knows how.
So that's like a defense mechanism
on his
of
part,
him.
right? And it's sad enough. It's sad enough that he's going into full-blown AIDS. I can say the word even if you can't.
Yeah, it is sad.
All right. It's
But
sad
it's
that
real.
and you're talking in my face.
I'm sorry.
It's sad enough that he's going into full-blown AIDS and is going to die. But it's sadder still that your relationship has to die before that because you're too unwilling to go inside and face the truth of your own self. His death essentially occurred for you when your relationship ceased to be open and you hid behind the drinking.
Yeah, hiding behind the bottle.
So that
would be one of the first steps. I know the AA terminology, and I've tried it over.
You have to go to 2 meetings a day. You have to get a sponsor. If you don't want to go into a recovery program, you don't have to, although I know a couple that could be one.
Well, I'm sure that I would have to just to detox.
You're gonna how much are you drinking?
A day?
Yeah.
Oh, probably about a fifth a day,
Okay.
honestly.
Yeah, you'll probably, you have to have, you're over the edge. You're going to have seizures if you don't. All right, so you've got to
Plus
get...
working 3 jobs.
Yeah, well, you'll do anything to hide from this.
Oh, yeah, I'm running fast.
Okay, it's not pleasant, it's not pretty, and it's going to make the phase after he dies so hard for you that this will seem like a picnic.
And I do feel guilty because I know that I'm not there 100% for him.
I know you're not there 100% for anyone. You're not there for
Not
yourself.
even for myself.
Well, especially for yourself. It starts there. You've got to get into rehab. You've got to get detoxified. You've got to start now. And you stay on the line, and we'll give you the name of a place where that can happen.
I will, David, and I do want to tell you that I really, really admire you. You always hit everything. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever called you, and you always hit everything. Every call I've ever heard you've taken right on the head.
Thanks for the praise.
And,
but
no, really, I've always been so impressed.
Thank you.
With the help that you've
Then
given
trust me.
people, and I'm glad I got the courage enough to call you
Okay,
tonight.
let's get you detoxed and let's get this underway. Okay? Do I go to someone else or do we go to... Yes. Go.
Hi, David.
Hi. You're not that
um,
far away. It's electronics that links us. You don't need to shout.
I'm right here. We can't have Michael hold on. We actually disconnected him, but we're going to call him back. So if you have other referrals
I have a
tonight,
great
we'll call people back.
I have a great referral for him.
Okay. We have a call now. You know, I've been working on your show for almost 2 years, but this is a phobia that I have never heard of. It's Susan.
Okay. Susan.
Hello?
Hi, Susan.
Hi. I'm not sure that it's a phobia, actually, but
How old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay. What is it?
Okay. I find that when I'm at a library looking for a book, or I'm in the bookstore, not when I first get in it, but, you know, once I'm trying to find what I need to find or whatever. I'm in college, you know, so this is pretty often. I get physically sick.
How?
And
What do you feel?
I feel nauseous, stomach cramps, and if I stay there long enough, I feel like I have to go to the bathroom. I feel like I have to defecate or something. It's awful. It's quite embarrassing.
All right. So you get stomach cramps.
Yeah, and I feel like I can't. Not that I can't breathe, but nauseous, sick to my stomach.
All right. You're feeling nauseous. What else are you feeling? What
Like,
feeling?
I have to find the book and get out of here.
Okay. And at the moment you get out of there, you feel better?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. It like gradually goes away.
Okay.
It's
Gradually goes away.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anxiety when this is going on?
Well, that's the interesting part because I think I've had this for a long time, but never put the two together. Like, oh yeah, libraries and bookstores, and sometimes card stores. You know, that this. You know, I've never linked the feeling and the location together. It's only maybe like over the past year or something.
What kind of card stores? Used cards or new ones?
Used card? No, cards like greeting cards.
Yeah, but I mean, do you ever go into an antique store?
Yeah, I've been to antique stores.
Do you get that feeling there?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
I just, like when I'm
What
browsing or something, I feel. Yeah.
Browsing. What about attics?
I've never been in an attic.
Ever go to flea markets?
Yeah.
Do you ever get the feeling there?
I don't remember. See, it's just, you know, recently I was thinking about libraries and bookstores. Maybe. I really don't know. Perhaps.
I think you're allergic to mold.
Oh.
Fungus.
Really?
Have you had allergies as a kid?
No, none.
Never?
No.
How long have you had this?
Yeah, you want something out here?
I could have had it for a long time, but I've only noticed it maybe since high school.
Well, there are a lot of people who are allergic to books. You can be allergic to all kinds of things, but there's something in paper.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Because there is a certain smell that is so true.
What
Like,
is the
oh,
smell?
There's that smell. Here it comes, you know?
What's the smell?
The smell of a book, like an old book.
It could be, I think it might be a fungus allergy.
Okay. Well, I hope so. Well, cause
All
it
right.
also happens
Let me
in
ask a
books.
few psychiatric questions. Let's play with this a little bit.
Because it could happen in a brand new bookstore where
Did-
there are no old books.
Did you ever get punished for reading someone's diary?
No.
Did you ever snoop into some paper affairs that were not your business? Anything related to books or things like that?
Sure. Yeah, I snooped when like my parents weren't around.
And what did you discover?
Nothing really important. See, here's another thing, David. When things go wrong in my life, or when I get a strange feeling that I can't describe it, I think, you know, Cass, my name's really Kathy. I think maybe this has to do with your crazy father. You know,
What
'cause
about
I
your
hear you talk about that all the time.
But what about your crazy father?
He was abusive to my mom. And
Uh-huh.
treated my brother like a saint and kind of like treated me as an extension of my mother.
Okay, did he ever beat you?
Just a few times he hit me.
Where did he take you to beat you?
Nowhere.
Where did he beat you?
He never really, just a few times he hit me.
Where were you at the time?
In the hallway of my house.
What's in the hallway?
Nothing, really. I remember one time I was going to read something. I was going to snoop for something. And he was hiding in the house. And when I got closer to snoop at what I was trying to snoop at, it was a letter my mother had written to him trying to apologize. Like, oh, I'm so sorry for our fight or whatever. He acted like he wasn't home, and I knew he was home. And I was so scared. And it turned out he was hiding in his bedroom, and he leaped out at me when I went down to
And what did you do?
grab the card.
What did you
I
do?
lied. I said, oh, I thought it was something of my own I was trying
How
to
old
do.
were you?
I was in junior high.
He leapt out at you. He must have terrified you.
Yeah.
What was your reaction?
I was so scared. I thought he was going to hit me or something, you know, like really let loose. Because nobody was home, you know.
Did you let loose?
Did I let loose?
Yeah.
No.
Did you almost lose control?
No, never.
You didn't soil yourself.
What?
You didn't soil yourself.
No.
You sure?
Oh, yeah.
All right. There's a question whether or not your fear has to do with an allergy to fungus or something like that that's not uncommon,
Right.
or whether or not now at 19 years old you're having some feelings about your father and the anger that you feel towards him and the remembrance of the surprise and the compromise and the feeling of being trapped looking for the book and just wanting to get the hell out of there, the old memory returning. I'm not sure which it is.
Okay.
Where did this start to get worse?
What?
Did this start to get worse?
No. It's just now that I notice it more.
Okay, and your relationship with your dad, what's that like?
We don't talk anymore. I don't even know anything
And
about
when
it.
did that stop?
When did that start?
Mm-hmm.
When I was in 9th grade.
Okay. I think we have to do a couple of things. First of all, I would like you to write a letter to your father.
I'm terrified. I'm terrified.
I didn't say mail it, did I?
Okay. No.
Write a letter to your father telling him how upset you were over that incident years ago, okay?
Okay.
Then I want you to take that letter. You're in the university now?
Mm-hmm.
And go up into the stacks of the library.
Right.
And I want you to read the letter in the stacks and say, this is why I'm afraid of being here, because I never faced this fear.
Okay. I don't see what that can hurt.
Oh, I think if it's the answer, it's going to help a great deal because you're confronting the feeling in the midst of where the symptom has developed.
Mm-hmm. It
And
just
so-
seems so
and
funny that they might be. It just seems so remote.
Well,
you
no,
know?
it's not remote.
Oh.
It is a possibility. And the other thing is it'd be worthwhile for you to go to an allergist and say, hey, I get around papers there's a certain smell and I get this feeling of losing control and having stomach cramps. Because the anxiety is in the prominent feeling, the stomach cramps make me suggest an intense feeling of loss, or it could be an allergic reaction that it happens so fast. It may be a combination, I'm not sure, but the fact is that it occurs in card stores, and your mother's letter is like stationery.
Oh, right.
Stationary.
Wow, it was.
You know. So put all that together, it could be that feeling. You close to your mother?
I'd say so, yeah.
Write the letter to your father, read it to your mother, and then go in the stacks and read it and give me a call back.
Okay.
We're going to get you through this.
Okay.
Interesting, huh?
Isn't it though? It seems silly.
Well, yeah, and the other thing you can do is you can stay in the stacks with the letter and saying, it's not the books, it's my anger towards my father over being so unrealistic and so crazy that is the feeling I'm dealing with, and I feel trapped by him. I'm not trapped by a book or by a letter.
Okay.
Test it out.
Okay, I will.
We'll do our own little behavior therapy here.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
You take care.
Okay.
That's
Bye-bye.
It's interesting. Anything can become symbolically invested with power. When you hide from a certain feeling, some part of the environment can take on almost a magical quality. And it's almost, you have to be a sleuth as a therapist to get back into the person's life and see what it was. I had a patient once who had a terribly abusive family, and the only thing she could remember at the time she was being abused was a red wagon she had stared at, and that became the source of great comfort for her. And later in life, whenever she saw a red wagon, it would become a source of great sadness, as it also symbolized what was missing in her childhood. So the symbols have the meaning that we give to them. Interesting, huh? We'll be right back. Welcome back, David Viscott. What is this next call? I'm not sure what you're saying.
We have Terry, and she's having some problem figuring out her relationships with her father and her grandfather.
Okay, Terry.
Yes, sir. Hi.
Hi, you got to speak up. How old are you?
I'm 36.
What's going on?
Well, I have always known that I was molested by my grandfather. It started when I was about 16 months old, and I just started dealing with it in the past year because it started affecting my life and my behavior. And so I am seeing a therapist and taking Prozac. He says I'm suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. But this subject has never been talked about in my family. And I finally broke down and asked my dad if my grandfather had molested my mother. 'Cause I just had a
You
feeling-
finally broke down and asked your dad if your grandfather had molested your mother?
Right, my parents were divorced.
Okay.
And this is the first time that anyone has ever brought it up. And he, of course, he told me, yes, that my mother had been molested up to the, raped and sodomized by my grandfather up until the time they got married. And my dad was in the Navy, so my mother still lived at home after they got married.
You have to speak up. We're losing the line.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, anyway,
So she lived at home while your father was away.
Right. And he was doing this up until the time she got married. So what was to stop him from doing it after she got married? Very sick man,
Are you telling me that your grandfather impregnated your mother?
I think. But I can't prove it. And I can't ask my mom.
Why not?
But she won't talk about it.
Why not?
I don't know. I tried one time, and she said that she didn't believe that we had been molested, my sisters and I.
But she had been molested. Why couldn't she believe that you had been molested?
I don't know.
How old is your mother?
54, I think.
Well, the time has come to talk to that woman. Don't let her get away. I mean, because she's in a great deal of pain herself over this, filled with denial, suppressing all of this information. And when there are multiple abuses in a family, there's also the opportunity for multiple healings.
Yeah.
And that's really critical. Why is this coming to the surface now, may I ask?
Well, my grandfather died 2 years ago, and I think that's what did it. I have never been mentally real stable. But about a year ago, it started affecting my behavior, and I got suicidal, and I was crazy. And it was affecting my marriage, so I went and sought help and started talking about it. And I'm very open about it now to my sisters. They're not, but I look just like my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
And it would explain a lot of things of why my mother treated me the way she did when I was growing up. She was very hostile toward me.
Well, one of the things you can do is you can have a blood test checked out with your father to see if he's your father.
I can do that?
Sure.
Oh, it'll prove for a fact?
Yes.
Oh, I wonder if he'd do it.
Of course he would.
See, nobody wants to talk about it.
Well, you talk about it.
Pardon?
You talk about it.
I do, and they cut me off.
Well, will your father speak to you?
Just a little. Not much. After I mentioned that, I brought it up again. He said, honey, the past is the past, just forget about it. And that was the last I heard out of him about it.
Well, it would help you understand yourself better. It would give you some idea of what's going on, and it would be a beacon in the family. They don't want to hear it. They want to keep it all hidden. But you have, in all of us, the unresolved pain of our life doesn't just sit there. It's waiting for an opportunity to display. And your old pain is coming through now. It's saying, resolve me. I can't stand going on like this. I can't stand living this lie. I cannot stand being trapped. I cannot stand being in silence. Release me. Let me speak. Let me validate. Let me express. Let me ventilate. Let me get all the other people in my life aware of the pain. Let me out. And that pain presses on.
I'm also afraid to find out that he might be my father.
You have to run that risk.
I know.
All right,
Sure.
because some part of you already knows.
Yeah.
Okay. Your need is to validate that part, to at least live in the truth, and to come forward with it in the family, because the family is sick, and the family, like every family, is as sick as the lies it holds on to. We'll be right back. Welcome back, David Viscott. Dottie, who do we have?
We have a married couple, David. They're Karen and Gary, and they have a problem with their sex life.
Karen and Gary. Hello.
How are you?
You're obviously Gary.
Obviously.
How old are you, Gary?
36?
Karen, are you on the same line?
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I am.
How old are you?
33.
And why are you calling? What's the problem?
We're always curious. We've had this, what we consider to be a bizarre sex life over the last 6 years or so.
What does bizarre mean?
Bringing other people into our love life.
What does that mean?
Threesomes with other males. That's always been my idea.
Uh-huh.
And Karen's never really gone along with it.
She's never gone along with it?
It seems like she always has to be coerced.
Coerced? How do you coerce her?
Alcohol?
Oh, you drug her.
Yeah.
And how drugged does she get? Drunk?
Too drunk to enjoy it. But she goes along with it.
Well, no, she doesn't go along with it. She's also too drunk to resist. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
All right. So, what do you feel about that, Gary?
I'm curious as to why I enjoy it.
Okay. And what is it that you enjoy about it?
Just the excitement.
I mean, what's going on sexually?
We've had friends.
I mean, what is the act that you're having with your wife when you're both like this?
Both of us trying to please her, and both of us making love to her.
So, you will be both making love to her at the same time?
Yeah.
So, in other words, would it be fair to say that you and the man are both involved in the same sexual act with your wife between you?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that what you are doing is you're using your wife as a condom?
Yes.
Would it be therefore, we're talking about your homosexuality, are we not?
The thought of being with another man doesn't excite me at all.
The thought of being with another man excites you enough so that you get your wife drunk in order to be with another man.
I could be just as happy watching the two of them.
I understand, but you know what I'm saying.
It doesn't seem right. But
What doesn't seem right about it?
if I thought that would excite me, then I would tell you so.
But it does excite you.
You could think so, but it's really.
But that's the form of your homosexuality.
I don't know what to say. I
But isn't that true?
I didn't call to argue with it.
But I didn't invent the call. Karen,
Yeah.
what does this sound like to you?
Well, my feeling is more that it's just, I don't know, it's just, 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 it's just
it's his
that he feels inadequate. Is that he thinks he doesn't, he's not pleasing me. It's not enough to, satisfy me. So he has to,
Bring other people in.
yeah.
Yeah, but the point is, Karen, if you drink and you do something you don't like, what does that say about you?
It's our escape.
I'm talking to Karen, please.
I apologize.
Karen, why do you go along with it if you don't like it? Karen,
Yeah.
you're not acting like a person. All you can do in this life is be true to what you feel. Do you want to have sex with another man and your husband?
No.
Then say no, and don't drink. You cannot hold your liquor. You're not standing up for yourself, and you're doing things that you resent.
I know.
Don't do that. The first step in the correction of the process is to stop the activity that you do not like. You have a little voice that tells you what you should do. It's always right. You don't want to do it, right?
No.
Don't do it.
Bravo.
Yeah, but
Don't do it. There is, no matter what he says, if he says he's going to leave you, if he says he's going to kill himself, you don't want to do it, and he has to solve his problem that creates in his own way. The problem comes in your life when you don't pay attention to the voice in your head that tells you right from wrong, and the first step of right from wrong is, I don't want to do it. It's amazing how people compromise, Dottie.
That was a really fascinating call. Her voice was so scared and small.
Well, she's afraid of being rejected. She's afraid of losing what she has. And, it's terrifying to people that if they give up their only sense of themselves, the thing they actually lose is themselves. And once you start losing yourself, it's very difficult to stand up for anything because you don't think you're deserving.
Are we out of time?
We've got 10 seconds. You want to say
I
something?
just want to thank every single person on the staff for making the show possible at all tonight. Everybody did a great job.
Yeah. Aren't these people amazing?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Aren't you amazing, folks? You came through for me again. And we'll be seeing you again next week live. And take care of yourself.
You may wish to contact the Viscott Center at 1-800-426-4432. The center is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Private consultation is available for a fee.